Okay, let's take a look at where we left off. And the reason why I'm always sort of resetting when I come in is even when I'm working on a game for a studio, I always reset. And that means like I'll play the game, I'll walk around, and I generally have a notebook next to me and I look at stuff, right? I'm like, okay, well, how can I improve the game? And it's always good in the morning when you have fresh eyes, right? Like for example, like those are way too close together, like all these guys doing combat, you know, the cab could have like shaking. So I'll just make those as notes and I'll add them to my Trello board or Jira or whatever. But I try to at least tackle one thing a day, especially when you're busy with the family. So this is just sort of advice on how to improve your game and not to lose heart. I mean, there if you watch these videos or these documentaries online, they take like 5 years to make their own personal game, and you don't need to really do that. Like you need to upload to your portfolio often with updates and things like that, and then just keep applying and not concern yourself with the if, because you'll get whatever it is you want. You'll get a good game that you'll publish and sell, or you'll get a job. It's just when. And so chipping away at it is the when. And a lot of times the people will come into your life who want to help you once you have something to show them, more than just an idea to talk about. Anyway, enough of my soapbox. So something I noticed is right off the bat, it would be cool if the snowballs actually took some sort of damage against this cab as they hit it. So let's go ahead and open up our blueprint for our snowball kid, and let's take a look at where we can um, essentially build pack these into functions, which it'll get easier, I promise you, as you continue to like learn about Unreal and functions and stuff. And just think again about as functions as reusable blocks of code. So this right here is a delay for when our snowball happens, right? And this is our snowball speed. But you can see here we have a snowball size. We have this actual projectile here. And then it goes to a timeline. And that timeline is what we're using to move our snowball kit up and down. So we have two potential places to build a function. Right here is a good spot because this is actually where all of this essentially code is what is firing our snowball. So if I right click on this, or here rather, on the title is generally the best place, and we go collapse the function, this function is now our um, really our snowball, I don't know, projectile, you know, function or shooting. I don't know. We'll just leave it as snowball projectile. So that's what this does. Actually, I could have even grabbed that arrow. We grab that as well. And then just collapse this function to, well, you're something else that I'm not doing a good job of is a function should have the name of whatever it's doing, right? So it's like this should be, fire projectile. And that's what this does. It fires a projectile. And that is a little bit clearer. So we could always reuse this function, not just for snowballs, but other things, right? Like say on our game, we have like like you drive by an auto shop and a tire gets loose and it's shooting towards the thing. And or a Tiger Rack breaks, and then these tires keep coming out, like the classic 1990s games, like Ninja Turtles and stuff. You'll notice they slow down the player, they slow down game projection game progression by having things just sort of fall out and or like characters jump up in front of you. So these are all sort of projectiles, right? And I wasn't sure if we were going to add more to this, but we could always go inside of it. But this right here could be where we could collapse this into a function too and just name this dismiss function failed. Why is it? Let's see what's going on. Maybe I need to save this. That's why. Let's see the log why this is not allowing me to collapse this into a function. Could be the time-based node. Small block. Oh, at the timeline. So, I think what it is, the reason for it is anything with a time component, like the delay or the timeline itself, are not good things to put inside of your function. So essentially so to say it a little bit better, like anything that pauses execution or stops execution over time, like a delay or snowball, like this timeline, you can't put into a function. So I had to actually look that up. So anyway, let's go ahead and collapse this, and this could just be called, NPC hop. Because all it's doing is making our NPC hop up and down. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at how we can add damage to our cab. All right, so this looks pretty good. Now, if we go to our snowball projectile here, you can see we have a really very simple graph here. We just have an event hit, and that means just whenever this projectile hits something, we just destroy the snowball itself. Unreal has its own built-in damage system, and which is really nice. And so what it has is it has a function that we can call that will call an event. So that function is called apply damage. You can see here we wired this up. Now the function itself, like I said, this apply damage is actually going to call an event, right? An event that will that it's already wired to. And this is kind of a nice feature. Let me compile and save this. Let me compile and save this. And for that, I want to open up my cab blueprint. And actually, let's go back here to the snowball and let's just make sure that the event that we're doing is whatever this hits, our other actor is what we're going to apply the damage to. So let's compile and save that. And then in our actual, let's see, our cab here, just down below, let's add our apply damage. So just to kind of go over this, you can see we have our snowball projectile, or sorry, not our apply damage. It's any damage. So this function here, this snowball projectile here, this apply damage, what it's going to do is going to apply damage to whatever damage actor that we hit the other one. And the other actor that say it hits is our cab. This right here, this event will register that damage hit, that damage. You can see there's damage type, instigated by a damage causer. So a good way to test this is let's drag out a print stream. We could just put cab hit. So now that we have our cab hit wired up, let's just actually compile and save that. And actually, we need to go back to our snow projectile here, and we have to apply some level of damage. So let's say that every time it hits it at 10, and say our cab has 100 health. We compile and save that, and now when we press play, you can see that we should get a hit, a print up in the corner. It's kind of hard to see. I'll move maybe over here. Maybe I'll make I don't know if you can see that. Let's adjust that print here. We'll make the color maybe a hot pink. That should work. And hit OK. Let's try that one more time. Compile and save that. Hopefully that looks better on the gray. Yeah. So you see like a little pink blurb in the corner. All right. So let's take a look at what we have here. So remember, if you go to the wall here, our level will restart. What I'd like to do is as the snowballs hit the car, I'd like the level to also restart. This could be like an easy restart scenario, And, the point of winning this game is you have to pick up all the passengers. So how can we do that? Well, we already know how to do it with our, essentially our out of bounds trigger, excuse me. So if we look at this, if you recall, we have all of this code here. And what it does is once a overlap event or the trigger happens, it looks for the player and it checks if it's the same character, right? Once the character hits the wall or whatever are those box triggers are, it checks if it's true, and then we restart the level, right? We fade out the camera, there's a delay, we get the current level, and then we open the level by name. So we can copy this. I'm gonna hit Command X here, Control X here. And if we go inside of, we look at our snowball projectile, this is where damage is actually being applied, right? And actually, and the reason I bring this up is if we look at our yellow cab has the corresponding event any damage here that corresponds to the apply damage function here. So this apply damage is called whenever it checks the other actor to see if it has, I know we kind of went over this already, but this event any damage. So if I delete this and I paste it in here and I move it over and I wire this in, what's going to happen is once the snowball hits our character, it's going to essentially restart the level because all we did is move that level over. But there is a problem, and you're probably thinking it right now. And it's like, well, what if I fall off the level? It's no longer going to restart, right? So you can see here the snowball hit it, the level restarted. And as you probably considered already, it's like, well, wait, that's not working. And the really cool thing about, again, these events, any damage, and then it is called, is we can use the same thing, this event any damage, on on things like this, on the overlap event, because we have a connection to the player pawn. So let's kind of walk through that. So we have apply damage, and apply damage is calling this event any damage, right? So um, so let's go inside here. We have this on component overlap, we have this true, and I want to be able to call that. All right, so what I want to do is I'm just going to drag out from true here, apply damage, and then I'm going to wire into the damage actor, our player pawn here. So just to reiterate, because I love this, I think it's so cool, is this one event hit, anywhere that you apply damage or anything that it hits, right? It's looking for any hit event, it's going to register that with the actor. So now that we're applying damage here, it's going to look for the other actor's event, any damage here that's on this character, and it's going to call it. So we can apply damage and have it restart from multiple different blueprints in our scene. So now let's compile and save that. Let's press play in our scene. If I fall off, do I even have a blueprint there? Let's try that one more time. Okay, so if I go this way, let me see something here. Did I compile and save all that? I might have an error somewhere. Let's see. Save that. There we go. Apply damage, damage actor. Oh, we still have this destroy. Oh, that's for, let's see, apply damage and destroy actor. Save our snowball too. Oh, we never applied base damage here. Okay, let's try that again. See if that works. There we go. Yeah, so see how it's restarting? You got to remember to always apply damage or it won't work. So now we have essentially the makings of a little bit of damage, right? Like there's some, if you get hit by a snowball, there is some sort of consequence to it. Anyway, I hope that tutorial, this lesson was pretty helpful and you learned a lot. And actually, let's just expand this a little bit more. Sorry, before the lesson is over, and just on cleaning up code. All right, so if we recall what this level or this code does, is it's used to restart the level, right? So to help our essentially our code look cleaner, what we can do is we can do a couple things. One, we already know about, right? We highlight all of these and then we right click and we can collapse it to a function. But that's going to give us an error, and we learned that last time. And the reason for that is because we have this time delay node and you can't collapse these inside of a function. The other option is we can collapse this into a node, which is cool, and you can double click it, you could still access it. But the problem is that then you won't be able to see that it has the time delay, right? So let's go back and undo that in our event graph. So I'm just going to go down here and Control Z. And the last option is nice because you can right click on it and you can actually collapse it to a macro, and you can see it as a little clock on here, and that's indicating that it has the time delay node. And then what we can do is with this new macro is you'll see there's a macro here. It's called new macro. And I can just call this restart level. And then whenever I need to restart the level, I could look inside of here. I can actually just drag this node out and I can reuse it within my game or my level. See this restart level macro. So inside of the event graph, I could say, oh, you know what? I want to restart level up here. And then I could just wire that in, which is kind of cool. So let's compile and save that and just see if that works. And sure enough, let's see if the snowball hits it. You can see our level restarts, and then if I fly off this cliff here, it restarts. All right, I think that's good for now. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I'll talk to you in the next lesson.